Hey guys, today I'm going to share all of the most vital mobile apps that you should have as an expat in the UK. First up, I would recommend Trainline, which is the app that I use for booking train tickets. Now, before I say anything, it is a third-party app, which means that they do charge a transaction fee, which is usually like a couple of pence, which is extra than buying your ticket directly at the station. But because Trainline is so easy to use and it is so convenient and it's quick and it's just built perfectly that I personally am happy to spend those extra few pence to get such a well-working app. But that's just something to keep in mind if that's something that bothers you. Now, I have a video on my channel all about traveling by train in the UK. It is a super popular way to travel, but the basic idea is essentially I will book my train ticket with Trainline. All the details are done in the app. Everything's paid for in the app. I'm also able to include my rail card while booking through Trainline. Then I will go to the station when I'm ready to travel and pick up my ticket. They say it usually takes about 20 minutes before your ticket is ready. So I might book it that morning for traveling in the afternoon. I walk to the station, I plug in some details that Trainline gives me, and it will print my ticket. You'll just need your payment card that you used when you bought the tickets, and Trainline will give you a special code that you type in, and then it prints your tickets, and you are good to go. But out of all of my mobile apps, Trainline is probably the one that I use the most. Next up, I would recommend your local bus company. Now, depending on where you settle in the UK, it may be a different company. For here, largely in Kent, the bus company is called Arriva, and they will have their own app. But wherever you are, wherever you end up, just have a Google to see what bus company is in your area so you can get that app. And of course, the app can help you in terms of like planning your journey, maybe buying tickets, figuring out times, all that kind of stuff can be done within the app. Years ago, when I first moved to England, we did not have the luxury of having apps where you could purchase tickets through them. Most of the time here in Kent, it was only cash. You had to buy your ticket on the bus. You had to have exact change, which was very stressful. And thankfully, in the last couple of years, more and more counties have gone towards cashless and towards using apps or like tap in, tap out on the bus, which honestly is so much better than cash only. I will say if you are moving to London, London has been cashless for years. The public transport in London is fabulous and everything is contactless, which just makes life so much easier. The next app I would recommend is something called Ringo. Now, most of the parking lots in Kent, or at least in my area, are operated by Ringo, which is basically like a parking payment app. So instead of fishing out change and putting your coins into a machine and printing off a ticket and putting it in your car, everything can be done through Ringo. So it is extremely convenient. You don't have to worry about exact change, and it can just be done on the app. Now, your part of the country might be a bit different, so have a look when you are out to see what company runs most of the parking lots. Here it is Ringo, and I would recommend having this app even if you are not driving, but if you are going to be getting rides from people quite often, I think it's just a nice thing to be able to pay for someone's parking, especially if they are driving you around everywhere. But when I did have a car, I also used it constantly for any time I parked pretty much anywhere in Kent. Now, while we are talking about transport, we have a couple of London-based transport apps, and that is TfL Go and Tube Map. Now, I don't live in London, so I don't use these often, but whenever I'm visiting the city, I usually will download it because it's just really helpful. So both of these apps are really good resources in terms of using the public transport, about getting around London, about figuring out where you need to go and times and maps and all that kind of stuff. I definitely would recommend checking both of these out. Next up, we have Patient Access. So this is the mobile app that my GP uses. And while I don't use it all the time, it has been extremely helpful when I've needed it. Now, your GP may be a bit different, but the way mine works is that I can book most appointments through the Patient Access app. I can also see all of my test results, and I can actually order repeat prescriptions. Living in the UK means that you are going to see rapidly changing weather, so having some kind of a weather-based app is super helpful. Next up, we have a couple of apps that are like lifestyle / financial apps that I have found really helpful. So that is your mobile provider app, your banking app, whatever bank you're with, and if you have a credit card with a different place, a credit card app. So for me, my mobile plan is with 3. Not sponsored, of course, none of these apps are sponsored. 3 is really good. I haven't had any issues. So I have their app on my phone so I can check to make sure I'm not doing like any overcharges or like roaming or any of that kind of stuff. All my details I can find in the 3 app. And in terms of banking / credit card / financial kind of thing, I use Lloyd's currently. So my banking is with Lloyd's. So I have the Lloyd's app. Pretty much every element of banking I do is online. I have never needed to go into a branch, so having the app is extremely helpful. I also have a credit card with a separate company, so I have their particular app, so I can see all of my charges. I can also pay off my credit card through them. Everything is pretty much centralized through their own app. I realize not all expats are going to get a UK credit card because those can be really difficult to get approved for, but if you do get one, it is really helpful to have their own app. In terms of more like friendship or personal life or communication type apps, we have a couple that I would definitely recommend. First off, pretty much any kind of meditation app. I don't know if you know this, but moving abroad is really stressful. And I have had so much success with using meditative apps or guided meditation apps or whatever, just something to help with your mental health because it is quite stressful when you first move. Even after a couple of years, it's still a little bit stressful. So it's just nice to have something. I would definitely recommend checking out apps like Headspace or Balance are both really good in terms of like mental health and meditation and all of that kind of stuff. Just have something on your phone whenever you might need it. Now, in terms of calling home, I use FaceTime. I find it just simple and free and very easy. So my family and I will use FaceTime in terms of video calling, but of course you could use Skype or Zoom. Whatever works for you, just you need to have something. I also would 100% recommend checking out WhatsApp. Now, WhatsApp was not something that I was familiar with in Canada, and maybe it just wasn't popular yet, or maybe it was just like my circle of friends, but I had never heard of it until I moved to England. And I find here, everybody communicates through WhatsApp. So it's nice to just have it downloaded. It's basically just like a messaging service, but you can also do like video calls and audio calls and send photos and all that kind of stuff. So WhatsApp, I have found in my experience to be extremely popular with people here in the UK. All of my work chats have been through WhatsApp. All of my like friend group chats have been through WhatsApp. So it seems to be very popular. In terms of making friends, 2 apps that I would recommend are Friender or Bumble BFF. Both are pretty much the same in that you make a profile and you can connect with local people who are also trying to make friends. Because to be honest, making friends as an expat is really hard, especially if you're working full-time, especially if you work from home, especially if you don't know anybody or you're a bit nervous or anxious about going out to events by yourself. I definitely would recommend checking out these apps. Because I'll be honest, whether you are introverted or not, it is tough making friends in a foreign country. Next up, I would definitely recommend getting this is so silly, but it's so helpful, a grocery store loyalty card app. Let me explain. So for instance, I pretty much exclusively shop at Tesco just because I like Tesco and it's near to me, so it works out great. Now, Tesco has this like loyalty club thing, card, whatever, basically called a Tesco club card. So if you are going to say shop at Tesco a lot, I definitely recommend checking it out. And pretty much all of the grocery stores have like a similar idea. It's just called something else. So I have a Tesco club card. I have it on my phone, so when I check out, I can bring up my club card and it has like a barcode. I can scan the barcode while I'm checking out, and if there are any discounts or I get any like discounted prices because I have a club card, the machine will automatically take off those discounts, and then I just check out like normal. So I know it's really boring and it's so like it's so lame to be telling you about this, but it has saved me honestly so much money. And being an expat is expensive, so wherever you can save money, it really helps. If you have any questions, please make sure to leave a comment down below. If you are still looking to get settled in the UK, why not check out this video where I talk about how to get your first bank account. But until then, I'll see you in the next one.